Thank you for joining me. This is the Spiritual Princess. And with Valentine's Day just right around the corner, I wanted to do a video that I titled The Hidden Triggers: What Causes Relationships to End. And that's going to cover like healing and letting go of past hurts and relationships, because we all go through it. So I sat down with my guides and angels and even loved ones, and I wanted them to clarify, how we go about healing, letting go of past hurt, how we try to find a good relationship. Because for many of us, it's extremely difficult. And I'll be the first one to admit, I have never had a good time finding love. I've been hurt over and over, like most of us, but I'm going to talk about what my guides say will help us. So if you're interested, then that's going to start right now. So my guide said everyone gets hurt by someone they love or care for in forging relationships. It's one of the main lessons we all come here to learn. And what can't be controlled is how others handle the relationship based on their level of enlightenment. Meaning, if someone is spiritually enlightened, it's going to be really hard to find others on their same vibration who might be more kind and compassionate than people who aren't open to living life in a more spiritual way. Sometimes someone who has a lot of wounds from childhood or even adulthood, they will feel drawn to a more enlightened person because they feel that that person has a lot of compassion and kindness, and it's what they need to heal from some of their own wounds. However, because they have been hurt in their past, they don't know how to truly be with a good, kind person who doesn't have any ulterior motives, so they treat them like they treat everyone else who has hurt them in the past, by being controlling or insecure. Basically, they're punishing the good, kind person for what happened to them in their past. All that does is hurt the good person who just wants to love and be loved without having bad intentions. It becomes a vicious cycle that the couple will break it off because too much damage has been done to one another. So now all that relationship did was prove to the insecure one that nothing ever works out, that all people are the same, and they guard their heart and isolate themselves to protect themselves from doing that again. Which is where the saying comes from, hurt people hurt people. Now imagine doing that more than 5 or 10 times with other people, hoping someone will be good and kind like you, but time after time they all prove to do the same, but some were worse than the previous ones you got away from. That is truly damaging to anyone, and therefore they shut down and refuse to let anybody else in. My guide said we see it so much, and it's one of the main lessons while people are alive. For the people who went through childhood trauma, they need to heal with help from a therapist. So they learn techniques for how to deal with people who aren't out to hurt them all the time. Otherwise, they're the ones that become the insecure and controlling ones. They will try to control everyone, and they won't trust anyone. And they'll spend the relationship looking for things that prove this new person is just like the last one, and so forth. So until you can truly heal and let go of your wounds, you really shouldn't seek someone out who you will end up hurting because you're still hurt. That is really cruel to do to a good, kind person who only wanted the best for you. A good, kind person who has gone through that with a few partners will stop allowing themselves to be hurt and shut down. Then they become very good at seeing through people who have a lot of wounds. And that is their signal to run or disconnect from that person. And that's because they are not going to go through that crap again. And I have to admit, I am one of those people. We live in a world full of hurt people. You know, the more it happens, the more isolated people become and become fearful of having a relationship. So again, they protect themselves. They push everyone away. So if you are someone who has been really hurt, my guide's suggestion was to heal from that before looking to get into another relationship. If not, chances are it's just going to repeat again and again and again. And then we have people who have been horribly betrayed by love or at work or even with their family. And those kind of betrayals cause the person to shut down even more because they have learned not to trust anyone ever. Those are generally the people who become angry at the world and bitter with everybody. And it's best not to try to have a relationship with that person unless you want to spend your time chipping away at the concrete walls they built around their heart. If you truly love them, you can try, but the damage has been done. So, it's very hard to get them to trust again. And then you have the people who aren't right mentally, who were probably the ones causing the wounds for someone most of their life. There's nothing anyone can do to fix that person because they aren't right mentally. But you want to love them in spite of this. But just know they're not going to let you, no matter how hard you try. So in order to find that one true partner, my guides say you must be willing to take a hard look at who you are. If you are a good and kind person, or are you the one with childhood trauma that might have made you insecure and controlling? You need to figure that out. Once you do know which side you're on, and sometimes that can be both sides. Sometimes you can be the good person with a lot of childhood trauma, and that's not a good combination. But you need to get help for what caused your behavior as an adult, and you need to heal from it. That way you can let it go so you can have a chance at love. If it's with family, all you can do, what my guides say, is distance yourself as much as possible and set up some good boundaries with the ones who keep hurting you. Same with work, create good boundaries or move on, get away from that job, find a better one. If you're the spiritual, good, kind person who's been hurt, you need to realize you are going to attract the wounded ones because they are craving your kindness and love, but they want to keep it locked up so it becomes controlling until the good, kind person feels trapped and they'll want nothing more to get away from that. So the best thing we can do is not to shut down, but to evaluate each person very carefully before we get too close to them. My guide suggested asking the right questions and really get to know this other person within the first 2 to 3 dates. And you can do that if you ask the right questions. You can tell who they are pretty quickly. Now, if they talk about being a victim or they're speaking poorly of the ex-partner, those are red flags. People who do that are usually the insecure, controlling ones who couldn't bottle up the good, kind person. So now, oh, poor them, they're the victim. A good, kind person won't usually say bad things about the ex, not unless, they really trust that other person, and then they would only speak their truth eventually. But they're not going to start off as being the victim. Again, they might, tell things that happened that are truthful, but it wouldn't happen right away. You want to be on the same vibration with your partner. So the good, kind, spiritual people do best with others who are like them. My guides say we live in a complicated world, but knowing how to navigate other people will help us not get hurt so much. But again, we are here to learn from these tough relationships. So we need to figure out who we are and then go from there. And that was really the only advice they could give. Because again, our guides, angels, they can't interfere with our life lessons here. These are things we came here to learn. So some of us have been through a lot, and then other people seem to just find love easily and everything works out. So just keep that in mind. But again, try to find somebody who is more like you vibrationally. Like attracts like, and sometimes being a good person, I seem to always attract definitely these wounded people, and I always get hurt because of it, because I'm helping them heal. And then once I help them heal, and then they're out of there, they're like, see ya, because I don't need you anymore, or, whatever the case is for a lot of people. So I just wanted to put this out before Valentine's Day, because I think a lot of people need to understand this and how it works. If you've made it this far through the video, thank you so much. I appreciate you listening to the end. That does so much for me and my channel. I just want to be here to help people. That's my main intention with these videos, is to help with my guides and angels and loved ones' advice. And if you want to do some shopping for Valentine's Day or even St. Patrick's Day and so forth, I have a really cute Etsy store, and I will put the link up so you can see it. And if you want to browse my store, I would really love it. The more people who browse my store, the better it becomes for me. So I guess with Etsy, it's like an algorithm thing. But I have some adorable things, and I'll even put a couple pictures up. But otherwise, I hope you got something out of my video. Have a great day or night. Love and light.